Now, the next story is actually ties in very nicely with your first observation, Mike, of the German minister. Those of you that have been watching the news will see that pholcodine, any preparation now, this is a cough suppressant, any medication with pholcodine has been withdrawn from over-the-counter use. So this is a very interesting story. I'll just pop you onto the government UK advice for patients, because I feel that we have to do that. Pholcodine is in many medications, and I'll show you the medications in a minute. But apparently, if you are going to have an operation with a general anesthetic, which, as I understand it, would include something that would be used as a muscle paralysis agent, then apparently this could lead to anaphylaxis shock. Now, this is a 1 in 10,000 risk, right? So it's a tiny, tiny risk. Who is going to know? Who remembers in the last year, have you had a product with pholcodine in it? Probably most people we know don't check the patient safety leaflets, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But what they're saying is if you've had pholcodine for 12 months prior to a general anesthetic, and you don't know what's going to be used in that general anesthetic, you might just have sedation, it might be a lighter anesthetic. This is for anesthesia that has been using muscle relaxants. So all of these medications have now gone offline. Now, I'm just taking this article as an example. You can go and have a look at most of them online now have got the products. So this is just the one that I was using. So let's have a little look at the products. Which items are affected by the recall? Everybody's jumping up and down and saying, oh my goodness, this is Cavonia. We've used that for ages. This is day and night nurse. But look very closely there, because we're looking at pholcodine, right? And a little while ago, we were talking about neuroephedrine, which was linked to a very rare brain disorder. So this is completely different. This is pholcodine. Now, if you look down right at the bottom, it says day and night nurse capsules, right? Day nurse capsules, day nurse PL. It doesn't say anything about, because everybody's going, oh, night nurse. Now, I've got a bottle of night nurse right here in front of me, right there, night nurse. Now, if you go and look at this is the elixir. So this is the medicine, okay? This isn't tablets. So if you look at the patient information leaflet here, so just, if there are any pharmacists out there watching, please correct me if I'm wrong. But according to this, the active ingredients of the liquid night nurse, which many people are saying is now gone, the ingredients are paracetamol. So obviously you should never take any paracetamol if you're going to take something like this, because you'll overdose. So please check the ingredients. It's also got promethazine in it. Now, promethazine, some people might have heard of promethazine as Phenergan, which is an antihistamine, antiemetic, stops you feeling sick, and can be a bit of a sedative. And it's also got dextromethorphan hydrobamide. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. Now, that I believe is a cough suppressant, which is different from pholcodine. There is no inclusion of pholcodine in the patient information leaflet. So if anybody is going to go to the pharmacy to get night nurse, as in this night nurse, sorry, can you see it there? Which is the liquid, and you're told you can't have it, perhaps check with the pharmacist, because as I'm seeing it, and I'm sure that David or one of you gentlemen will be checking me out as I'm saying it, but as I'm understanding it, this night nurse does not have pholcodine in it. So there you go. That's an exclusive for you. We'll go on now to very quickly excess mortality, and we've got a story from The Guardian, which says that the NHS crisis is causing continued higher than normal levels of death. Now, can I just highlight, this article is dated March 2023, but they're going on data that was between June and October 2022. So I've been looking at James Roguski's Substack, and you know that we've been interviewing James Roguski with regards to the WHO guidelines, the international health regulations, and also Mark Anderson's been doing a phenomenal job with keeping us all up to date on the WHO. But James has put this very interesting Substack out, and I might have to ask you, Mike, if you wouldn't mind reading what I've underlined in red, please. It's a bit small for me. Thank you.
Well, it says at the beginning, I'd like to encourage people around the world to submit freedom of information requests to obtain the data that their nations have been obligated to report to the World Health Organization according to the international health regulations. And it's talking about Annex 1, a core capacity requirement for surveillance and response to detect events involving disease or death above expected levels for the particular time and place in all areas within the territory of the states party, and to report all available essential information immediately to the appropriate level of healthcare response. For the purposes of this annex, essential information includes the following: clinical descriptions, laboratory results, sources and types of risk, numbers of human cases and deaths, conditions affecting the speed of the disease, the spread of the disease, and the health measures employed, and to implement preliminary control measures immediately.
Yes, so this is from the WHO, and it says that this is their core capacity response requirement. So basically, we have a value in death, and excess mortality is of great interest to the WHO. It means basically that each country has to report excess mortalities and the reasons for excess mortalities to the WHO. What James has highlighted is that each country has a different spike on when we've had excess mortalities. It's very important that if you're watching from another country, check your own country, because what we're seeing now is, why are we seeing at what times? Each country's had a different spike at a different time for a different reason. But if the WHO are insisting and making it a condition that every country reports excess mortality, what kind of data are they getting that? And in whose best interests is it to keep excess mortality high, I think is what we're seeing. And I just want to show you what the most recent data is with regarding to excess mortality, bearing in mind that slide from the article was for June 2022. So I found a recent from the actuaries, the Institute Faculty of Actuaries, the Continuous Mortality Investigation. Now, I never knew that this existed, and I'd be very grateful at some point, maybe if Mike can have a little look at more of it, because I'm not very good at data crunching. But it would appear from this report, and this is the latest report, that excess mortality is seen to be dipping a little bit there. But I could be reading it wrong. So I just wanted to flag that up, that the WHO have a concerted interest into excess mortality data. So even in death, we are worth a lot of money, and we're being watched in death. Even when we've died, the surveillance is still there.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Debbie, for that.